Hey guys, what's up? As you can see, I am back from my trip to New York. Actually, to be fair, I've been back for some time. I've been back since the middle of last week. The reason why it's taken so long for me to make a video again is because I've been busy with work, catching up with work, and I still got some more catching up to do. Also because I had to kind of take a break from my vacation. This is not to say that my visit to New York was unpleasant. In fact, it was quite pleasant. I had a good time out there. My family had a good time out there, and my immediate family, as well as my mom, dad, my brothers and sisters. It was great, and I got to visit my old haunts in New York again. It was fantastic to be out there, and went back to the village. Had a good hamburger out there. Visited some places. Visited my old, where I used to live in New York City. It was great. The thing that made the trip tiring was the trip out there, the actual going to New York. As you guys know, I did a road trip, and I like road trips, but they can be long. And I was driving from the Midwest to New York, and then from New York back to the Midwest. That's a long-ass trip. If I was driving by myself, I could probably do it in about like 12 hours. But I had my family, and people need to stop and rest and eat and things like that. So it took longer, like around 14, I think. I didn't count the hours, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 14, 15 hours that it took us to get there. And the trip back was worse because on our way back home, my tires blew out, which really added some stress to the trip, because not only did it add extra time that I needed to take, but on top of that, and I ended up spending money that I really I could barely afford it. In fact, it's killing me right now that I had to spend that extra cash. I mean, tires themselves are not that expensive. But having to pay to get your car towed off the interstate, and then having to, find somebody at the last second to put those tires on, yeah, that's gonna cost a lot. So, yeah, I'm not happy about that. But, I mean, generally I like road trips, but yeah, after that I was like, ugh, I need to de-stress and unwind for a little bit. But yeah, I'll put in this video just to let you guys know that yes, I am back, and more videos are coming soon. Just be patient. I'm gonna put on some more stuff. Some more Dark Souls stuff's coming. Some more Sword stuff's coming. Some more, me ranting videos, whatever. By the way, you guys are wondering what the hell is on the screen. This is actually one of my favorite cheap little games to play. It's called One Finger Death Punch. It's dirt cheap on Steam. I think you can pick it up for like $5. Me, I think I got it for a little bit less. And it's as simple as you can get. I mean, I know it looks cheap as hell. It looks like a Flash game. But, man, is this game fun. You only press 2 buttons. All you need is just the 2 mouse buttons on your mouse, left and right. That's it. There's no moving, there's no jumping, there's no combos to learn. It's just time your button presses or button clicks to when the enemies are coming at you. That's it. I happen to be playing survival mode on this, and this is actually not my best playing, but I was playing this one particular night when I was kind of tired-ish, so my reflexes aren't as fast as they could have been. But whatever. Anyway, yeah, if you're wondering what this game is, this is what it is. I'll put a link down below. Another reason why I'm putting this video up, not just to let you guys know that I'm back, but kind of sort of an update in sorts on what I'm planning on doing, and also, just for the hell of it, just shooting the breeze and saying what the hell happened to have been on my mind lately. Just some things that, yeah, when you just got these random thoughts, but they aren't exactly, important enough to make a full video, or if you're just shooting the shit with your friends. This is sort of what I'm doing right now. So just bear with me, guys. First things first, as far as the sword front goes, something I'm thinking about doing is making a video on how to cut. Like how to cut targets with a sword. Now, don't get me wrong. I do not consider myself a fantastic swordsman and cutting expert by any means. But I know at least the basics on how to make a sword cut through a target. And, contrary to what you may think, just because the sword's sharp doesn't necessarily mean that you can slice through it. But for those of you who are in the know, who understand, I'm no super expert, but you give me a decently made sword with a good edge on it, and I'll be able to cut with it. Whether it's a katana, whether it's my trusty good old Tien, whether it's European longsword. If it's got a good edge on there, and you give me a tatami mat or a water bottle or a pool noodle, whatever the hell it is that of course a decent cutting target. I mean, I'm not gonna try to cut through steel or anything like that. That's just freaking stupid. But basic targets that people usually test cut or do practice cutting with a sword, I can pretty much cut with it, even one-handed. If in fact, that's the way I tend to have to practice because my sword style is one-handed. But whether it's two-handed or one-handed, I can cut. The reason why I want to talk about this though is I've bumped into people who they'll tell me that their sword sucks. Like they'll tell me that they got their hands on, say, like a katana or something, and they tried cutting some pool noodles or water bottles with it, and it just wouldn't cut. So the sword sucks, and they want to take it back to wherever they got it from, and the edge is dull. The edge is crap, so they want to get rid of it. And I'm like, let me see it. So I would look at I get to see the sword, and it's fine. It's got a superb edge. It's well made. So I have to tell them, like, there's nothing wrong with your sword. It's like, no, it's dull as hell. I can't cut with it. And I have to tell them, yeah, you can't cut with it. Doesn't mean that the sword sucks. The sword's fine. And then I'll show them, like I'll go out and get a water bottle. I say, what do you got for a cutting target, or a cardboard box, whatever they got, and I'll just slice right through it. Sometimes one-handed. And they're like, shit. I'm saying, yeah, you got it. You can't. Just because a sword is sharp does not mean that you are going to be able to cut with it. And I need to stress that. Yes, these things are dangerous. Yes, you can really F yourself up with one of these things. But as far as actually knowing how to properly employ a sword to cut through a target, like a tatami mat, you can't just swing at it and expect it to get cut. There's a certain amount of finesse that's needed to make it work. Granted, it's nothing spectacular. Again, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I mean, anybody can learn the basics of cutting with a sword in like less than a day, really. It's just learning that, just actually knowing that there's a bit of finesse that's needed is something that I've noticed some people lack. So they'll blame the sword, or they'll say it's a target or something, but it's actually how they're employing it. You can't just baseball bat swing a sword at a target and expect it to cut. It's not going to work that way. Especially if you happen to be using something like a katana, which needs a slicing motion when you're employing it. Or, even something like a long sword, or straight sword. Like I use straight swords, and there's a certain kind of finesse. Like you need to have at least a slight slicing motion, and you need to make sure that edge is properly aligned with your swing, and you need to make sure that your wrist isn't bending or turning while you're doing it. If any of these things are not met, it's just not going to work. So I'm actually thinking about doing a video about that. Again, it's not because I'm, oh, look at me, the super expert here. No, it's just, if you get a sword and, you think and you try to cut with it and you can't seem to make it cut, before you say it sucks, make sure that your technique is right. That's all I'm saying. And I'm just going to, go through the basics of that. Anybody can do it, really, though. It's not that hard. Just don't baseball bat swing it. But I'm thinking about doing a video about that. Now, also, sword stuff that I want to talk about is me putting up more sparring videos. There are more of those coming up soon. For those of you guys who are wondering why I don't put those up more frequently, part of it is because of what I have to do to make that happen. I meet up with my group of friends, particularly the guild that my friend Nick started, the Historical Fencing Guild, which hopefully you guys have checked out some of those videos because I put up a link to it in my last video, and I'm putting up another link here again. I have to meet up with these guys in order to try to get some sparring matches going, and we supposedly meet up once a week, but sometimes I can't make it out there, because of the nature of my job and also, other things, or I might be busy with something, so I can't always make it out there. And if I can't make it out there, well, I can't record anything, because I can't record a sparring match. And also something that I personally am kind of concerned with is the fact that I'm recording other people. You see, when I put up my videos, it's from a standpoint of, like, I'm sharing my development with you guys. Like, again, I'm not the greatest swordsman in the world here, and there's a lot that I need to improve on. And when I'm putting up these videos, it's just sharing with you guys my growth in, sword training. And not to mention, since my style is kind of weird for the rest of you guys, because many of you guys are used to seeing Japanese stuff or Japanese stuff or Western European art sparring stuff, like Scholar Ground, for instance, has excellent videos on that. or you know, like School of Gladiatoria, you know, put up videos on that. And I'm doing stuff from a Chinese perspective, so that's, you know, it's kind of weird. So I share that with you guys just so you can see a different thing. It's not necessarily like I'm doing it, you know, like, oh, look at me, I'm awesome, because I know I'm not. But, you know, I don't mind sharing my fuck-ups with you guys, you know? And besides, I also sometimes get some really good advice from some of you more experienced guys when you see some of those sparring videos. The only thing I'm concerned with is the fact that there are other people in my video sparring with me who may not be ready to have heavy criticism heaped upon them from other people on YouTube. Now, you know, and that's my concern. Like, I have to, I gotta ask these guys, you know, when I record this might go up on YouTube. Are you guys okay with that? And usually they are. But, you know, still, when I put this up on there, it's one thing for somebody to say, oh, well, you know, Sword Sage, you got to work on this, or I think this thing sucks. Which, thankfully, I haven't been getting straight up, you know, trolls saying you suck. It's just more like, huh, you might want to work on this or add this and that, which I really appreciate that, guys. I really do. But, you know, other people, I don't know if they're up for getting that sort of criticism. I mean, granted, Nick, my friend who started Historical Fencing Guild, he has his channel up, and he's going to be putting these videos up anyway, so these guys who are on those videos are going to have to get used to that sort of criticism. But I'm just saying, from my standpoint, on my own channel, you know, I'm sometimes a little bit concerned about what people might say about other people on there. That's just me. And again, no one has really said anything offensive, but I'm just saying that's one of my concerns when I put those sparring videos up. But there will be more. Don't worry about that. I especially want to put up more stuff with me and Nick because, well, Nick's technique is just really, really good. And if it's one person who's always able to, you know, point out where, you know, like, oh, you left an opening here, or you probably need to improve on this there, it's Nick. So, I mean, the other guys are pretty cool too. I like sparring with Richie. I like, you know, sparring with if I ever get to spar with Trey again, it's been way too long since I sparred against her. Hopefully, I'll be able to have video of that. But yeah, that's. You know, don't worry, I'm gonna have more spar stuff up. I just wanted to tell you what's, you know, stuff that's been on my mind lately about putting that stuff up. But there will be more stuff. And there's also going to be more what I like to call explanation videos, because I still want to kind of show some of the techniques that my style uses and kind of explain why they do them the way they do. Because I get questions a lot about, like, why do you do it this way, or why do you do it that way, and is that effective or not? And I do want to, like, you know, explain, like, why they do what they do. I especially want to do one on forms. Like, some of you guys who I've been talking to privately know that I've been wanting to do a video on, like, forms for a while now. On, like, why are forms practiced? A lot of people consider Chinese martial arts forms to be useless, and I will admit that the way they tend to be practiced does make them useless. But if you practice them the right way, they aren't useless. And there's also a way to decipher them so you can actually see what the techniques are. I've been wanting to do a video on that for a while, and hopefully I'll get around to that soon. That's something that's in the works. So. Anyway, enough of that. Considering that we got a wacky video game thing on the screen, might as well. Yes, there will be more Dark Souls videos, for those of you who are wondering. I'm way behind on putting videos up. I've been still playing the game. You guys have no idea. I'm close to beating the game. Okay? And not only that, but me and Demoman Chaos have been playing together and have a lot of footage of that as well. And we wanted to put up a series, a little bit, I guess, a bit more comedic, because of both of us trying to beat the game together and all the craziness that happens with that. I got a lot of footage of that also, and I just got to put it up and edit it. Well, edit it and then put it up. I got a lot of work to do. You guys, seriously, I got like gigs upon gigs of footage, and like I said, I've almost, you know, the game's almost beaten by me. And remember, the DLC came out too, and I really want to, you know, get into that as well. So I got a lot of video footage that I need to hurry up and put up so I can get to this other stuff, you know, before I'm left behind, you know, in terms of putting up Dark Souls stuff. But don't worry, for those of you who care about that sort of thing, more Dark Souls 2 stuff is coming up soon. So. And maybe I might go back to Dark Souls 1 as well after I'm done with showing you guys how I go through 2, just because I like the Soul series, period. Speaking of video games, though, one of the things that I was doing to unwind after I got back from my trip was catching up on YouTube stuff, and one of the guys I like watching is Egoraptor. He has a video series called Sequelitis, which I really like a lot. And for those of you who have no idea what the series is, a very, very brief summary. He puts up a series called Sequelitis, which is basically where he reviews games and their sequels and talks about, you know, their merits, whether they were a good sequel or a bad sequel, or whether it was a good game or a bad game, from a game mechanics standpoint. Like, he's not just simply going, oh, this game's awesome, this game sucks, and gives kind of like superficial reasons for it, or just simply does it just for laughs. While he does have a very extreme comedy take on his videos, it's a very bombastic sense of humor he has, which I personally like a lot. He actually does know what the hell he's talking about when he's talking about this. I can tell from when he's critiquing these games that he's talking about it from a game development standpoint, and from a game design standpoint, from a mechanics standpoint. Like, does the game work? Like, this is how the game decided to approach combat, or this is how the game decided to approach story or conveying, you know, its world and things like that. And does it work? Does it not work? Does it work with, you know, it as a game? Is there something that's holding it back? Was it executed correctly, and so on and so forth? And that, I really enjoy that about his series. Like, despite the fact that, you know, the videos themselves are crazy, the information in there is actually, you know, worthwhile for anybody who cares about that sort of thing. So anyway, now that all that is over, he recently, after a long freaking period of us waiting, finally put out another episode of Sequelitis, and this time he was talking about the Legend of Zelda series. Specifically, the games A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. And let's, for those of you who haven't seen it, let's just say that Ocarina of Time did not fare very well under his eyes. he had some fairly harsh things to say about that game, which pissed the fanboys off. And to the point where there were, I mean, granted, a lot more people liked his video than, you know, disliked it, if you look at his ratings. But yeah, a lot of people took offense to what he had to say. And to the point where some people even made some response videos to him about it. But, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. I mean, you know, your favorite game is going to be your favorite game. But, you know, there's some people who just are going to argue just for, like, how dare you say this about my favorite game? Like, even at the beginning of his video, he preemptively, you know, addresses the people who are going to instantly take offense without even hearing his argument. And you know, those people, of course, are always going to be morons. But, you know, even after listening to, you know, you're entitled to your opinion. Even he said that, you know, like, you can tell me, you know, you can discuss if you think I'm right or if you're wrong. And a lot of the people, of course, who thought he was wrong, you know, made their own critiques. But the thing that's kind of annoying me about a lot of these people's responses is the fact that they don't seem to get the fact that he is not arguing just from some Joe Schmo idiot standpoint, or just somebody who goes, oh, well, I don't like Ocarina of Time cause reasons. Nah, if you listen to his arguments, they come from a game mechanic standpoint. And as much as I personally like the Legend of Zelda series, and as much as I like Ocarina of Time, I have to admit he's right. Guys, seriously, it's not a perfect game. And I'll be the first to say it's not perfect. In fact, I happen to be one of the old school guys who happens to think that the original Legend of Zelda is still one of the better games. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I know those are the people who are reared on the later Zelda games, the ones who that kind of hold your hand. And I really don't like games that hold your hand all that much. I prefer the older one where they just kind of throw you in the river and hope you can swim. Could be why I like the Dark Souls series so much. But yeah, that's just something that kind of annoyed me. Anyway, I've yapped on long enough. I need to get to putting up some decent videos on YouTube. So just let you guys know that I'm back, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.